No one really wants to admit small dogs can be loud. Like, you haven't even knocked yet, but they're ready to fight a leaf loud. But here's the real kicker. Is it just a personality quirk, or is there something deeper behind their nonstop barking? Spoiler alert, it's more than just their tiny bodies compensating for their tiny egos. And yes, I know some of you are already typing, my chihuahua doesn't bark. Okay, Karen, but we're talking about the other 99% of small dogs here. So let's dig into the science, psychology, and let's be real. Some dog parent mistakes that might be fueling the chaos. Let's start with the basics. Why do small dogs bark so much? Turns out it's partly our fault. Studies show that smaller dogs have higher levels of stress-related hormones like cortisol. According to a 2022 study from the University of Veterinary Medicine in Vienna, smaller breeds are more prone to anxiety than larger ones. And guess how they deal with that anxiety? Barking. It's their version of screaming into the void. But here's the controversial part. Did you know you might actually be making everything worse? Picture this. Your tiny Pomeranian is barking their head off at the mailman, and what do? You pick them up. Congratulations. You just told them their barking worked. They think, cool, I bark, and mom saves me from the scary man with the Amazon box. And don't get me started on the baby talk reinforcement. What's wrong, sweetie? Is that big, bad squirrel scaring you? Guess what? That squirrel is now a mortal enemy in your dog's mind. But wait, it's not just anxiety or your coddling, it's also biology. Small dogs have higher pitched vocal cords and less physical intimidation power. So what do? They use their bark to make themselves sound bigger. Think of it as their version of wearing platform boots to the club. Now let's talk about the elephant, or rather the teacup Yorkie in the room, the infamous Napoleon complex. This theory says small dogs overcompensate for their size by acting aggressively. While that might not be totally fair, a 2018 study in Applied Animal Behavior Science found that smaller dogs are more likely to exhibit fear-based aggression. Translation: your pint-sized pup isn't trying to rule the world. They're just scared and overreacting. Let me guess. Some of you are thinking, okay, but my big dog barks too. Sure, but the difference is in the frequency. Research from the American Kennel Club shows that breeds like Dachshunds and Chihuahuas are at the top of the barking list, while larger breeds like Greyhounds barely make a peep. Here's a personal story. My neighbor's tiny dog, Snickers, has been barking at the same mail carrier for 3 years. Every day, same bark off, same result. But the kicker, one day, the mail carrier crouched down, gave Snickers a treat, and boom, no barking. Turns out Snickers just needed reassurance that the mail wasn't a threat. So, what's the fix? First off, stop rewarding bad behavior. Instead of picking them up or coddling them, redirect their focus. Dog trainers swear by teaching small dogs a quiet command. And for the love of kibble, socialize your dog. The more people, animals, and experiences they're exposed to, the less they'll feel the need to sound the alarm. But let's be honest. Sometimes the barking is part of their charm. It's like they're saying, I might be tiny, but I've got opinions. And honestly, who doesn't respect that energy? So, what do you think? Are small dogs just misunderstood geniuses? Or are they barking because they've got something to prove? Tell me in the comments about your dog's funniest or weirdest barking moment. And if you think barking is their only claim to fame, think again. In the next video, we'll dive into how your small dog's big personality actually makes them better at protecting your home than some big dogs. Trust me, you won't look at your yapper the same way again.